Hey everybody, welcome back to Real Scent Review. Tonight I'm going to be reviewing a very special one, 1740 Marquis de Sade from the house of Histoires de Parfums. It is one of my very favorites at the moment, and despite its name, Marquis de Sade, I'm happy to announce that this is not a sadistic fragrance. This one is all pleasure and no pain. Stick around guys, check out this one. Hey guys, welcome back to Real Scent Review. Thanks for tuning in. Tonight it's gonna be Histoires de Parfums offering 1740 Marquis de Sade. This one is one of the more interesting fragrances in my collection. Just an incredible and a fantastic fragrance, and I can't wait to get into this one, so let's just get to it, shall we? So a little bit about this house here, Histoires de Parfums. They're a niche fragrance house from Paris, France, and this house is known in particular for designing fragrances influenced by historically influential people, mostly famous people pertaining to the arts. For example, they have a cologne called 1875 Carmen Bizet, inspired by the opera Carmen by Georges Bizet, 1875 being the year of that opera's release. They also have one called 1899 Hemingway, which Ernest Hemingway, famous American author, born in 1899. So that's a little bit of an interesting tidbit. If you're into history, especially art history, you're probably going to want to check this house out. They have some really amazing offerings. Very interesting concept. They truly are a niche fragrance house. So this one here in particular, the Marquis de Sade was a French soldier, political activist, but he was most famous for his novels, his very sexually graphic, disturbing, violent novels. In fact, from his name, Marquis de Sade, we get the word sadism, experiencing pleasure from somebody else's pain. Like I said in the introduction, I don't know. I think this is more of a romantic, very beautiful fragrance here. I don't think there's anything sadistic or depraved or extreme about this fragrance. On the contrary, it's very nice. By the way, it's called 1740 because Marquis de Sade was born during that year. So starting with the unboxing here, comes in a box with a sleeve on it. The sleeve slides off like so, and we can see Histoires de Parfums. They have a logo on the front here. In the back, there's a pattern. Looks like a bunch of different rectangles and some lozenge shapes as well. The actual box here reminds me a little bit of a book. It has a white front, a white back. It's made of paper and the letters are raised. It says Histoires de Parfums. And on the side here, we have a little description of the scent, including the company's official note breakdown. Also on the bottom, we have a barcode and the batch code here. So this opens on the side like so, and you can see the inner box comes out. You just put your finger in here and pull it. The inner box here, the protective box that actually houses the bottle, opens up like so, and you can see the fragrance lies down comfortably inside it, almost like a casket. Very nice, interesting box here with a little flap, very protective, great quality box. So getting into the bottle here, this is a 60 milliliter bottle. The 120 milliliter bottle has the other half of this, looks like this. So the 60 milliliter bottles from this house look as though the 120 milliliter bottles have been cut in half vertically. Again, much like the white raised writing on the box of the cologne, we get some white writing here on the front of the bottle, Histoires de Parfums, batch code on the bottom here. Nice black cap, very lightweight cap. It says Histoires de Parfums on it. Very lightweight plastic, pretty flimsy. It does not click into place, and there's not a lot of friction on it, so keep that in mind. The bottle, nice. It's not very heavy, but it's also not lightweight. Cool shape here, and on the side, we also get 1740 and the official note breakdown once again from the company. So my favorite part, let's get a spray out of this one. A very striking opening here. So the notes that I detect are the following. In the opening, I get a lot of Davana, also known as Artemisia. In the mid, I get some patchouli and some cardamom. And the dry down is all about the immortelle, leather, and smoky incense. Upon initial spray here, we're gonna get a huge blast of Davana, which is also known as Artemisia. So this smells very herbal, very boozy. There's some dried fruits in there as well. I'm thinking like raisins, something along those lines, maybe some dried cherries, perhaps. And it's definitely herbal, it's boozy, it's a little bit sweet. It smells like kind of like cognac, honestly. In the beginning, it smells like a very herbal cognac with some dried fruits. And there's definitely a sweetness to it. Very interesting opening here. Now, it's not over the top boozy. It smells very well blended here. Beautiful, beautiful opening. But as this goes farther into the dry down, that opening cognac starts to turn into a red wine accord to my nose. It gets a little bit dry, it gets a little bit tannic, reminiscent to me of the smell of red wine. Very nice, very romantic, very sexy. And the mid here is all about the patchouli with some cardamom lending a hand in the background there. The patchouli is the sweet, earthy, slightly spicy type. I don't get any of the chocolate accord that a lot of times patchouli does have. That's absent for me in this fragrance here. Mostly just spicy, sweet, earthy patchouli. Works very well paired with the spicy, warm cardamom here. Now, these are not over-the-top spices. They're very digestible. It's not in your face. Very, very well blended here. Amazing mid part, but where this fragrance really shines, and my very favorite part, is in the dry down. So the dry down, we get a lot of Immortelle. Immortelle has a honeyed sweetness, is also herbal, and there's some floral accords in the background. Smells to me a little bit like chamomile tea, and this is mixed with a heavy note of dry leather. Now, it's not an animalic leather. In fact, it's kind of like on the powdery side, almost suede-like. Very dry, but it's not over the top. It's not animalic leather at all. Very digestible leather here, and we're definitely met with a very noticeable smoky incense. My favorite part of this fragrance is that leather mixed with the smoky incense. I absolutely love it. So in summary, this fragrance starts out very boozy, herbal with some dry fruits. It starts to get drier as the fragrance wears down, and we get some spiciness. We get some dry, powdery, almost powdery leather, some definite smoky incense, and some honeyed, sweet, almost syrupy Immortelle. And far, far into the dry down, I'm talking like 6-7 hours after application, the Immortelle remains. The Immortelle is the longest lasting note in this. And at the very end, it does smell a little bit like maple syrup on the skin. Very interesting fragrance here. Now, some of you might be thinking the notes of leather and smoky incense might be pretty challenging, might be a little bit animalic and intense, but in this fragrance, absolutely not at all. This is a warm, slightly soft fragrance, very pleasant, very beautiful, very romantic. I'm not sure if this fragrance is really appropriately named. The Marquis de Sade, again, known for his depravity, known for his sexually violent novels, known for his sadism, of course. This cologne for me is not evocative of anything like that. Very beautiful, very romantic, almost sexy fragrance, but it's not over the top, not dirty. There's nothing extreme about this whatsoever. It's a very unique fragrance. I wouldn't really say it's beginner friendly, not because it's challenging or anything, just because I think you need to have a slightly mature, developed nose to be able to appreciate this. There's some boozy notes, like I said, in the top, and it dries down with smoky leather. So, you know, this might be for intermediate to advanced collectors, although beginners out there, people who are new to this fragrance community, feel free to check this one out, because like I said, it's not challenging. I think it just requires a little bit of fragrance experience to appreciate this one to the extent that it deserves, because this is a phenomenally well blended, beautiful fragrance. I especially love the smoky incense in the dry down, like I said. Very, very, very nice. If you're fans of boozy notes, if you're fans of Davana and some spicy, sweet patchouli, you know, all that good stuff, definitely check this one out. As far as versatility goes, I don't know if it's the most versatile fragrance out there, but I certainly don't think it's anywhere near the most challenging either. I would wear this to a formal event, definitely dresses up as opposed to dressing down. This is for, you know, suits, ties, maybe going to an extravagant dance, a fancy dinner, something along those lines. I think it definitely would be appropriate for date nights in a formal scenario. Like I said, this is very romantic, sexy, warm, it's alluring, nothing extreme about this, but I think it has a very inviting aroma to it, and it could be just what you're looking for to spice up those date nights, especially in the cooler weather. Again, I think This does lean a little bit mature. It's very unique. There's not a whole lot like this out there on the market, and I think this requires some thought before you wear this. I wouldn't consider this a daily fragrance. Very special scent here. This is something, like I said, I would wear for special occasions, fancy dinner, a date in a formal setting, etc., etc. And another aspect of this that I think adds to its allure and sexiness is that it is not a beast mode fragrance. It is definitely not weak. It makes its presence known, but in a very classy, almost subdued way. So for example, the projection on this, nothing crazy. I get probably between an elbows and an arm's length for the first hour and a half. But the total longevity, very good. I get almost 9 hours total longevity on my skin. So it's warm, it's inviting, it makes you kind of want to get in a little bit closer to smell it. Very beautiful, romantic scent here. Not over the top, there's nothing overpowering about this. Like I said, I don't know if the name of this is, you know, really accurate. I don't know if it's very appropriate or not. But hey, what we're left with is a really incredible, very well blended, unique scent here. An alternative to this that I will mention is Patchouli Koja by the House of Nishane. They smell very similar to me. Nishane, another very, very good niche house. They're not the exact same, but they have that boozy kind of patchouli leather smokiness going on. Although Patchouli Koja has definitely more prominent leather than this, and that one is slightly more animalic. But hey, if you've tried Patchouli Koja by Nishane and you like it, you'll probably love this one as well. And you know, being from a niche house, a lot of times people automatically think high prices. And while this isn't the cheapest fragrance out there, on FragranceNet right now, this can be had for $120 US for a 120 milliliter bottle. And for my European Union audience, this can be had on Notino for 102 euros for a 120 milliliter bottle as well. I think it's worth every penny. It's a very memorable, sexy, romantic fragrance. I think it would be a perfect spicy, warm accompaniment to those date nights, those close quarters encounters. I definitely think it leans masculine, but there are a lot of women out there who could wear this and wear it very well as far as I'm concerned. But at the end of the day, if I had to choose, I would say I think it does lean a little bit masculine. But hey, regardless of the gender, what we have here is just a super solid fragrance, and I highly recommend checking it out. Anyway guys, that's been my review of 1740 Marquis de Sade from Histoires de Parfums. Hope you've enjoyed. Until next time, keep it real.